I didn't see his face. I just saw like a purple thing, like a stump with purple. Like, look, because his hip was all the way back, so you just could only see like right here on him.
Oh my God. Okay, that's
I
figment.
can barely see his face. I can't see his eyes. He needs a
Oh,
little better posture.
yes. Okay.
It
Well,
kind of look like a pink leg from here. I couldn't tell what. I thought it maybe was like one of those rubber chickens.
no, that's figment. It's totally figment. Here is his. I'll bend his neck down. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, he needs to get see the horns of orange.
There you go. Is that better? You can see his face now.
Yes, what a lovable fellow.
He is a lovable fellow.
Purple pigment. All right. Hey, James. So we're going to be answering your listener questions. So any questions in the live chat, if you have any questions, we will answer those, or we will attempt to answer those. We will make up answers for you. Since we're not recording quite yet, I can say that because we're just hanging out because we're all friends. And then for Friday, of course, we're talking Genie. We're talking APs. And maybe Cirque du Soleil. Who knows?
Cirque du Soleil?
I have three things. I don't know. It's something new.
No, trust me. Genie Plus, Lightning Lane, trust me. All that'll go.
Kites.
Oh, yeah. I do have to write an article about that. Oops. Way to Disney to like just sneak that one in. Kites.
Yes. Oh, man. Hang in there, Lisa, down in Mobile. It's a mess.
Yes.
Actually, I mean, this has nothing to do with Ida, but it's getting ready to just rip. Like downtown St. Louis, cars were flooded. Like the roads are flooded all over St. Louis County. It hasn't even started raining here. I'm on the other side of the river. It hasn't started raining, but the skies are black. So
are they?
Yeah, hopefully the electricity doesn't go out. I don't think it will. I said, Formica. Knock on for fake wood.
There you go.
Hey, Kelly's tuned in from Australia. Okay. So we're going to answer those questions. You have any questions, put them in the chat, please. If not, we'll go to the inbox. But these questions will be more fresh if they're in the chat.
Yeah, this down just a little bit. Oh, hold on one second.
Well, not rainy yet, though, Tanya. It's just black outside. It needs a rain, though, because it's dry here. I cut the grass yesterday. You know, it's that time of the year where when you're cutting the grass, you can't even tell where you cut, except for like a few little sprigs that are like super tall. So like you just go around just knocking down the sprigs here and there. Like I was trying to cut in lines. I was like, I can't even tell if I went over this. I tried to find like my tracks from the previous, like, you know, lap, but it was such a big mess.
Oh my gosh.
Brian
had to do that a couple days ago or yesterday too. Like it was so long.
He's dead.
Yeah. Oh, Brian, it was long here.
I see it. It was only long on the one side of the house by the air conditioner.
Well, he cut it kind of long to begin with. So
nice. Oh, Brandon's down in Lafayette, Louisiana. So stay safe. All right. They said they had tornadoes all day. Oof, that's not good. Hang in there. Okay, let's do this. This is episode 1957. Hang on, let me do this real quick. Oh, get some more people in here. I'm going to tweet it out real quick before we start.
What are you doing, Daze?
Real quick. We are answering your questions live right now on Facebook and YouTube. Come on over. Yes, we are talking APs and Genies. Ooh. /BL. Yes. Do they not have a catchy name like a something they get hashtag for the new APs?
Do they not have a catchy name? No, they want to
Magic Key.
No, it's annual passes. There's the Incredibass.
No, but they need something easier to hashtag.
Oh yeah, no.
And pass. I hope it's not pouring after this. After the show, because I don't have the doors on the Jeep. And Pam's not here, so. Okay. Here we go. Questions. Now we have some questions coming in. Thank you. Oh, good. Brandon dodged the bullet, it says. That's good with the Ida. Good. Okay. Here we go. Welcome to episode 1957 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. And I've just got something to say. 3 days until I am back in a college football stadium at the zoo in Columbia, Missouri. I cannot wait. I know we have college football starting tomorrow again. I know we had some week 0 games. Wade, it did happen. It wasn't a nightmare. That game did happen. Just got to say. But we're back to college football full time this Saturday. Can't wait. But until then, we got to talk about Disney. That's my other passion. And we're going to have a good time answering your listener questions. And to do that, joining me, she's still got to be a Tiger fan, even though she's deep in dog territory. We have Ricky from Lost for Less. What's up, Ricky?
Yeah, apparently my dog is filling in on the fact that we are in dog territory. And no, I mean, I don't have a dog in the fight, literally. So we're good here.
So let me just say, for Mizzou fans, now I know that Georgia has, they've had some great seasons. They've had some national championships. They've had Herschel Walker, one of the greatest football players of all time. But it's all about perspective. It's about how you see the opponent. And so for years and years, they've been kind of like the big bullies because that's why they have the Bulldog. They have Ugga. I mean, just the name Ugga. I mean, it just sounds like ugly and mean, right? I mean, Ugga. I mean, just think of just how it sounds coming out of my mouth. But this year, we have a new coach, Coach Drinkwitz, and he's told us to picture the Bulldog as Daisy. Instead of that mean-looking, ugly Bulldog that's going to come and mess you up, it's just Daisy. It's just like a little Chihuahua with an underbite, so don't worry about Georgia. We're going to beat them this year.
I mean,
it's all about perspective.
That's true. That's true. It's true.
Anyway, long way to go for football. But hey, let's answer some listener questions. That is why we are here. And our first question of the day comes from the live chat, and we record these live on Facebook and YouTube, usually around 5:45 Eastern on Monday. So plan your schedule accordingly and be here next Monday. Glenn, one of my great guests over at the Magic for Less Travel, is asking, is there a good place to listen to Walt Disney World loops, wanting to get in the mood for our October trip? And if you're a new fan of Disney and all this stuff that's going on, when we talk about loops, we're talking about background loops, the music that is kind of ambient in different lands around Walt Disney World. The resorts have background loops. Lands have it. Even there could be 2 or 3 different background loops within a land at Walt Disney World. I will say lately, my favorite place to listen to background loops, it's a great way to get ready for your trip. He's exactly right. I just go onto YouTube a lot of times and type in what I'm looking for. And there's lots that have kind of like static pictures. It's not really video, but it'll be like, if it's a Epcot World Showcase loop, they might show a picture like France or Italy or stuff like that. But there's some pretty good ones on YouTube. The only problem is if you're not a Red subscriber or YouTube, the premium version, you get ads kind of breaking the stuff up. But I don't know, Ricky, where do you listen? Because we used to have Magical Mouse Radio, RIP, guys. I loved Magical Mouse Radio because we have Background Loop Tuesday, all loops all day. But where do you check it out when you want to get some music like that? You're on mute.
I do miss it very much, actually. So, I hate that we don't have Magic Mouse Radio anymore, but hey, times move on. So I, like you, find a lot of background loops on YouTube. There are so many. I mean, when we started Magical Mouse Radio, of course, YouTube, it was a thing, but it wasn't very prevalent with the background loops. So, now there's so many different loops and you can find so many different things from all over the world. So it's a lot of fun to hear loops from other countries. Brian really likes the Tokyo loops, so we play those a lot. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we go to, is YouTube. So.
Let me ask you this though, just on this topic real quick. What, if you had to name a couple of your all-time favorite background loops from anywhere on property, because Scott and I have this all the time. We're like crazy obsessed with background loops and Disney music. Yeah. Give me a couple of your all-time favorite background loops.
Okay, so this is really easy. And my first one is in Epcot. It's the Interventions loop.
Yes, definitely. That is a good answer. That is
definitely on my list. The second one is the Epcot entrance loop, which is
that is another solid one. That's a top 10 hit, solid gold. Yes.
My next one, I think we're going to agree on all these. My next one is the Tomorrowland Loop.
Yes, that is another one. Yes. I mean, these are all like Vangelis specials. If you ever want to, like, you don't have the loop, but you need like inspiration, Behind the Waterfall by Vangelis. Follow that song and then start with that album.
I forgot about Behind the Waterfall. Yes. So good. So good.
It used to be on the train too.
Yes. And then Adventureland Loop.
That's a good one too.
That's a good one. And then my last one is like a combination loop. So of course it is like the best loop in all of Walt Disney World, and that is the Club Illuminations loop, otherwise known as
you named all mine.
Pre-Illuminations.
Yes, that is a great.
But
Inca dancer.
Then you have to add in Illuminations.
Yes.
So you have to add that in, and then you have to add in the finale, like the like what used to be Tapestry of Nations and Tapestry of Dreams. You've got to add in that part. So like there's this great loop that I listened to on YouTube, and it has all three of those in one full swoop. And like it's like an hour long or something like that, hour and 15 minutes. And like it is the best hour and 15 minutes. It's just like, so perfect.
And there's something about background loops, because a lot of these, like you mentioned, like the pre-Illuminations loop, they play it still, but it's, you know, you don't hear Tapestry of Nations, Tapestry of Dreams as much as you used to. You know, it used to be a nightly thing. Interventions, are they still playing that? I guess they still do some.
I don't know. I heard that I've recently heard that they are not playing it, and then I've recently heard that they are playing it, so I don't know.
Well, they did make a new entrance loop for Epcot.
They did make a new entrance loop. Yes.
That's pretty exciting that they actually had that they did that, and they're doing, because I think this reminds me of like an era. When I hear, the reason I love background loops is because it's almost like a smell of like walking in like it instantly takes me to when I hear Tapestry of Nations, or that the Club Illuminations, you call it, that pre-Illuminations loop, with Inca Dancer.
Yes.
And all that stuff. When I hear it, like I remember those trips. Like I just remember walking around World Showcase on a summer night with the friends I was with. I mean, it's just like it takes you in Adventureland. I instantly pictured nighttime. I'm always at nighttime in Adventureland when I hear that loop. Tomorrowland, same thing. It's always dark in my mind's eye when I picture that loop. So yeah, you named a lot of my favorites. Now the other ones I have, the 2006 Walt Disney World Today background loop that was on the resort TV. I use that a million times because I use it all the time. It goes no, how does it it's just kind of like a little, it's very like synthesizer, but it's very it's good quality. And now there's still a good background loop that they've put on the the PowerPoint channel on he's had a lot to do, but it's got more current songs. So yes, background loops, Len, don't get me started because I could do a whole show on background loops. All right, so let's see. So I guess we said YouTube is the answer to that one, but here is Lisa's question. She says, roll tide, roll tide. My question, we're going 5 park days in February of 22, and my husband and I are doing the same amount of park days in January 2023. Key is that's within 365 days of each other, both with Mike. So should we get the annual pass for one of us? Now, we will say on Friday, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about Genie, Genie Plus, lightning lanes, and annual passes. We're going to give it to you all at once, like a cram session. So we will talk about where it might make sense, where not. We're going to continue this conversation for the next months, because your mileage may vary depending on how you tour. But what do you think? So they're going 5 days in February, and then they're going back in January. So this would be a 1 annual pass cycle. Do they get 1 annual pass to possibly get room discounts? I mean, what do you think here? And I'll give my thoughts from the travel agent perspective. You're muted again.
It's all because I'm trying to mute Daisy. I think you do get an annual pass, at least one. I think it will, and you might get one for both of you. I think you're going to have to do the math and figure out how much it is for the park tickets for the first 5 days and how much it is for the second 5 days, and know that it probably will go up a little bit in price for the second 5 days, just because that's how Disney works. So just in case. So, and then I would add that up and see like where you are, because you're going to have to, I don't think Lisa's in Florida, so she's going to have to buy the most expensive annual pass. So, just add it up and see which one comes out ahead. If the tickets come out ahead, then go with that one. If the annual pass comes out ahead, though, you might want to consider that for one or both of you. I wouldn't necessarily, as of right now, bank on any discounts with like rooms. There haven't really been a lot, have there?
Right now, it's not right. So right now for the fall, there's a summertime room offer that is available up to 25% on rooms, but that's going away here soon because we're almost to September.
Yeah.
It's what they call a broad offer. There's not an annual pass offer, but again, who knows? Because right now we're going into that season where I mentioned this with Scott on Sunday night's live show, is that I had a guest looking for a room for Wine and Dine weekend, 5th to the 9th of November. There is not one room available on site for that set of dates, at least yesterday when I was looking. So the availability is extremely limited. I don't know what discounts are going to look like. I could have told you pre-COVID that, yeah, you will have some kind of annual pass discount. And, an annual pass discounts tend to save you more if you stay at a deluxe or at least a moderate resort, because it's a percentage off of the room. And so say you get, you hit on a 20% discount with an annual pass. Well, 20% off a room at the Polynesian or the Grand Floridian or the Beach Club is a lot of money that can, you can justify the annual pass savings. If you're somebody that stays at All-Star Music, and you get 20% off, it could be $10 a night, where it's going to take a whole lot more nights to kind of offset that initial price for the annual pass. I think you make a good point, though, is that you got to really look at, okay, what are your tickets going to cost as part of a package? Mm-hmm. And then really at that point, look at your next 365 days. What I call it is when you start the cycle. So what I've always done in the past, and I'll probably continue to do this again, is that when we don't have annual passes, when they expire, if we don't renew, is that I will buy tickets for the family as part of a vacation package for the first trip of the year. Okay. So we'll all have, say, 7-day park hoppers, something like that. And then what I'll do is I'll try to map out. I know this is really hard, right? I mean, you're looking a whole year in advance. You don't know exactly what you're going to do, but you got to take a good guess. So I'll say, okay, so if I'm going in the summer, I might be coming down in November for a race. January, I'll probably be there for a race. Maybe I'll be able to squeeze in like a princess or a spring race. And possibly here's the key. The next year, if we went on, say, July 6th, I'll try to go before that so I can get that one last annual pass use out of that. That's where you really make it work.
Yes.
So you got to kind of look out and say, does this make sense for you? And so it's really hard, but I would say in this case, from what you've given us, you're right on the border. And it's going to depend on, it could get down to things like merchandise discounts. I don't buy much merch. I'm just not a merch guy, but if you buy a lot of merchandise, you get a little discount there. So I don't know. The thing we'll talk, I don't want to talk too much about this because Friday we're going to really dive into this, but the no photo pass, the memory maker being taken away, stuff like that, irking me. It's on the chain, because that was a perk. But we'll talk about that on Friday. But I will say, Lisa, I know this isn't a great answer, but you are right on the border, I would say right now.
I think she's on the border too. Yeah, I do.
Okay, speaking of that, we'll talk about this on Friday as well. Len asks in the live chat, any ideas on when Genie or Genie Plus will be released? Do you think this is going to be in place for October 1st? Because annual passes will be September 8th on that.
Right.
It's like selling annual passes is not such a big deal as this overhaul of mindset of how this is going to be implemented, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that they had to have annual passes in place before they could sell Disney Genie, or I think they were I think that the way the dominoes were, gonna lie, that they had that's part of the plan. So I think that it will come around. See, that's the hard part. I don't know if they will kick it off like October 1st, which sounds like a really bad idea, knowing how many people will be there. And we know how Disney technology doesn't necessarily work the first day. So, I don't know if that's a great idea. Slow rolling it in the middle of September might be an option. I mean, they did say fall. September does start in the end of September. But then it also goes all the way till, almost the end of December. So, you have that whole window of when they decide to roll this out. So I'm not entirely sure when we're going to see it. I really hope they don't roll it out for October 1st, though, to be perfectly honest, just because I know how disastrous that's going to go. It's just going to go so bad. So I hope that they do it when it's not so busy. And so we'll see how that goes. But
so John in the live chat says current rumors November for Genie, but who knows with Disney? That's exactly,
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Who knows? But I'd prefer they do this because there's really not a good time once you hit October, but not over that weekend. And then you really, I would say if you had to pick, I would try to put this out, say mid-November if you can. Like,
but then you gotta fight Thanksgiving too.
I know, but say November 13th or 15th or sometime in there that gives you a little time before Thanksgiving, not much.
Right.
But I just don't think the thing is, if you put it out and there's not instant, if people are not happy with Genie, and I don't know how this rollout's going to go, right? Because you're paying extra, so people have a right to be upset if it is not an add-on, if it's not enhancing the experience. Does Disney want a chance that the message coming out, say on October 1st or that weekend or October 3rd, is everybody complaining about Genie Plus rather than the excitement of the 50th anniversary?
Correct.
I think you would want to keep that separate from everything else at this point. You've invested too much in it to risk throwing another variable into the fire that could come out negative.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I think it would be a very poor idea to launch it on October 1st. I could see the middle of October if they wanted to push it as close to that October 1st time period as possible, while still having space to get it prepared for the Thanksgiving Christmas holiday season. So I could maybe see the middle of October. But like I said, we'll find out sooner rather than later. It's coming. So
it is. All right. Tammy asked another question about the APs. Now they have been announced for September 8th. How many park days will it be worth buying an annual pass for out-of-state non-DVC owners? This big one. So the thing is, we're going to talk about that on Friday. Again, we're going to dive into the APs, but there's a great cost. And again, it depends on possible room discounts and how you typically stay. It's going to be less days in the park if you can get a room discount at a deluxe resort, if that's how you stay, if you buy merchandise, if you're really into the exclusive merchandise. Well, some people like that. I could care less about AP merchandise. How much is the magnet worth? Probably $2. I don't care. It's just, I like going to the parks, and that's it. I don't have to have the shirt or the magic band, but I know some people really like that stuff.
That's true. Now, in this case, it is for DVC owners. So DVC owners, they, don't have the perk usually of a room discount, since they're usually staying on points and things like that. There is a DVC option in the annual pass choices. It's the, pirate, not the pirate, the next one down from the
Pixie one. I can't remember.
No, not the Pixie one. The super one. No, the Sorcerer. I was like, I know it starts with an S. I know this is so hard getting all this in my head, right? So I think it's the Sorcerer one. That one is for Florida residents or Disney Vacation Club members. So that one may be one that you look at, because it doesn't matter if you're a Florida resident. If you're not a Florida resident with that one, as long as you're a DVC member, you could I believe you can buy that pass.
She's not DVC, so it's not going to help her. She's going to buy the biggie, the Incredibass.
Oh, well, then if you buy the biggie, then yeah.
Incredibass.
The Incredibass. Yeah. Again, Disney, what are you doing with these names?
I had somebody say, "How did the most expensive pass get the worst name?" I had to agree with that one on Twitter. That's a tough name. Come on.
That is a tough name.
But again, we'll talk about it on Friday. We're going to have a big discussion on this because obviously Ricky's an annual pass holder. I'm an annual pass holder, have been forever. Neither one of us live in Florida. Neither one of us are DVC.
So we pay that big money.
One choice. So we'll see what happens. We'll have the discussion. We'll be fair about it, but we'll talk about that on Friday. So here's a question from the inbox. And this one says, please answer prior to September 22nd. Plenty of time. Hey, Pam, Mike, and Ricky. This is Tony, and I live 1,003 miles from you, 449 miles from Ricky, 1,004 miles from Pam, and only 4 miles from the mouse. That's pretty nice. Yeah. So there you go. Boom. You're already saving a ton of money if you got an AP because you live 4 miles. If it's like a graduated scale, like, if you're 2 miles away, it's only like a $7 annual pass. 4 miles is 14. Like I'm 1,000 miles away. So it's like 10 grand.
Right. Exactly. That's how that works.
Anyway. I'm looking for a dining reservation suggestion for my birthday dinner on September 22nd. I have an annual pass, but my husband does not. So I'm looking at Disney Springs or at a resort. I currently have a reservation for Toledo at 7:25 p.m. Hoping to see some fireworks and potentially stopping at Three Bridges beforehand. but I wanted to see if y'all had any other ideas. Thanks for an awesome show. I'll be running my first Dopey Challenge in January, so hopefully I'll be able to see you and say hello one of those early mornings. Tony. All right, Tony, make sure here everybody that's running, hey, we should start that training. It's training season, man. You should be out there getting those miles in for Dopey, Wine and Dine, all the races, Princess. People register for that. Let me just remind you, the Lizards always meet before the races at the L bag check sign. So find the section that says, like, even if it's not an L on it, if it's like K to M, L's in there. So just go to that sign, find the shirts, get a picture. We'll have fun. So we'll see you there 4 times in January. But anyway, back to the question. I like this. Toledo with little 3 bridges kind of pre-gaming. That. I love Coronado. I don't know if I'd mess with that. That's a pretty good combo.
I know. When they were mentioning the plan, I was like, this plan doesn't sound bad. Like I would be in on this. I think definitely pre-gaming and then going to Toledo is a great option. You know, I would only suggest if you're looking for a Disney Springs restaurant. You know, of course, we talk so much about Homecoming. I know that that's fantastic. Boathouse is fantastic as well. So, you know, they have their like huge, gigantic dessert thing that they have. Like it's the s'mores pie thingy that they have that would be a great birthday cake. You'd definitely be able to share it. But,
we shared the Baked Alaska for Pan.
That's it, Baked Alaska. Yeah.
We had 2 of those things at the table, man. Those things were huge.
I think they have a s'mores one. That's the one that sounds best to me. So anyway, so those are a couple options that are at Disney Springs, but I really think you have a great plan. So stick with what you got, unless you really need to change it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that sounds super for me. I mean, of course you could look around at other resorts, but I mean, that's a great combo because, you know, out of 3 bridges, beautiful view, casual atmosphere. Then Toledo, you're right. You'll probably be able to see fireworks. You're in a very new restaurant. A lot of people haven't experienced that yet. It got good reviews. But I mean,
if you're looking for the views, you might want to look at Topolino's. You know, or of course there's California Grill too. You'll be able to get firework views from both of those spots.
All right. Here's an email we got just a mere 10 hours before recording this one. I want to get this out here because it's very interesting. It's from listener Courtney about Rise the Resistance boarding group passes. She says, "Good morning, Mike. I will be going to Hollywood Studios next week for my daughter's birthday. And I've been practicing getting Rise the Resistance boarding groups when I wake up early. So you can't actually get on the app and she cancels them. This morning was a little bit different when I noticed the link for the virtual queue was still available at 7:01 a.m. Wow. And then again, all the way till 7:04 a.m. I heard that they opened up the actual queue to lower crowd levels, but I've never seen the virtual queue available for so long. Just want to let you know and hopefully give others a chance to ride Rise the Resistance. I'll give you an update when I get down there about how getting the Rise of the Resistance pass goes. Thanks for all that you do, Courtney." So again, I mean, Ricky, you've been seeing it though. This past week, like the slowest week of the year. I mean,
absolutely. So slow. There have been days that I've seen where they didn't sell out Rise of the Resistance. Like it was available pretty much all the way till the end of the day. Now, I'm not saying don't bank on that, but like that's pretty amazing, you know? So again, right now is such a slow time to be in Walt Disney World. So hopefully when you're, you know, down there, you get lucky and you are able to get that Rise virtual queue pass and you won't have any problems. I know that they've recently changed like the way you do it too. Apparently they like select everybody. Right. And I'm hearing like, do not just keep going.
Yeah. Don't even try to boom, hit join queue.
Exactly. So like if I went down without you, Mike, and I'm going in and I'm trying to make my Rise, you know, virtual queue, and it'll automatically select Mike because we're friends. But then if it's, you know, realizes that Mike isn't in the park, doesn't have a park pass reservation, it will kick him out, but it'll still let me get mine. So I don't have to make any adjustments. If I do, don't do it. Just don't do it. Just
correct. And John says it was open until 7:25 this morning. So that's even crazier. So, I mean, but again, don't count on this because we're in like this little lull here. Yes. And the thing is, okay, you want to know another pet peeve of mine? So I work in travel, right? So, I mean, I'm a travel advocate. I
work in travel?
Right. I want people to travel safely when they feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, don't travel yet. But here's the thing. All I've seen on the news the last couple of probably the last week, travel is down. Like they're showing all these shots of the airport, TSA. Travel is down. No kidding, travel's down. It's the first week of school everywhere. It's going to be down anyway. Everybody's back to school. Hello.
That's what I actually had this discussion with a coworker today because I was, we were talking about the low crowds and everything at Disney. And I'm like, and I said, yeah, it used to be September, but I think it's shifting a little bit further up because like here in Georgia, they started school, the first week of August. So yeah, you're going to have that shift of lesser crowds in the earlier part of August now because kids are either getting ready to go back to school or going back to school. So I feel like that, the traditional time to go has maybe shifted up a couple of weeks because then you'll notice October has actually become way more busy. And the reason is because these kids now get a fall break. Whereas like when I was a kid, I didn't get a fall break. We started at the end or beginning of, September, or sometimes the end of August. And then we just went straight to Christmas, basically. Well, Thanksgiving. So we didn't get a fall break. Now they're getting a good, decent fall break, but they're starting earlier. So I feel like things have shifted just a smidgen and we're still in the mentality of like how it used to be. And I feel like things are changing at Walt Disney World as far as like when to visit for
the news every time they showed this story. Cause I'm on the treadmill in the morning. So I put on the local news on my iPad. And, when you run for 2 hours, basically the morning news is like recycled in 30-minute chunks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because people don't watch it for longer than 30 minutes getting ready for work or whatever. So they show the same stories like, 4 times in 2 hours. And I was just like, because the thing is, they're like, travel's down to its lowest point since the end of May. Well, no kidding. That's when summer started.
Right, exactly.
How do you not see this? Like, I know that there are, the Delta variant and all that, but it would have been the same way. Like, hello.
It would have because all these kids were out of school and now they're back in school. Duh. I don't know.
That's what I do. I rage yell at my iPad on the treadmill at 5:45 a.m. Like, oh, come on. I'm not happy right now. My calves are burning. I got my hips sore. Quit doing that story. Anyway,
exactly. Yes.
That's got some feedback too from yesterday as we're recording. She says, "Hey, Mike and Scotty G. I guess she wanted to be. She couldn't be on the live show because she was on a plane. I just wanted to check in from Walt Disney World for your call-in show or Monday show because I'll be on a plane. We've decided very last minute to come right back down to Florida and spend 1 week here before our summer ends and school starts again. Yesterday, Saturday, we got to Hollywood Studios at about 3:30 p.m. and we're still able to get a boarding pass for Rise of the Resistance.
See?
That's how it's been all week. Crowds have been super low. I'm sure because schools have gone back.
Yes, exactly.
Our listeners get it. They should be news directors. Come on now. And I'm happier than ever for after Labor Day start day for us. They don't start school till after Labor Day. Speaking of school, that's old school.
That is old school.
Man, when I was teaching it, is every year went up like 2 or 3 days early.
Yes.
Dude, 4th of July, I'm going to be here. Like if I keep teaching until the 30th year, it's crazy. Anyway, she says 50th anniversary merchandise is very hard to come by, but there's a ton of Halloween merchandise left. Mm-hmm. This morning at Disney Springs, even Gideon's was a walk up.
Wow.
Dude, the world is ending.
The world is ending.
Cookies. Come on. Not sure if any of this is helpful, but I thought I'd let you know. Have a great week, Betsy. Love feedback like this. That's
awesome.
That's good to see.
Yes.
She appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay, now for a question that I promise you we don't have an answer to.
Okay.
And I promised a friend, and he's a friend of yours, that we'd answer his question.
Okay.
And I'm going to put it out to our vast audience. Here we go. It's from our friend Kevin Alexander.
I had a feeling.
Got to talk to him on last Sunday night show. It was great. It was like old days. Apparently, Yeehaw Bob ended his live show early, so Kevin could catch our live show because he always says, well, Bob does a show at the same time. Tell Bob to cut it a little short, quit. No, just kidding.
We love him.
Okay. So Kevin is in a wheelchair.
Yes.
If you don't know Kevin, and he goes down to Walt Disney World. He has a van that he uses for his wheelchair to get around. And it's a bigger van. He says it's 8 feet tall. And what he actually asked this question probably about 9 years ago. And I still don't know if we got an answer. So we're going to put it out there again. I remember asking this question. Years ago. And he said, do you remember the question? And I did. That's
funny.
Me.
Yeah.
He's asking if there is a place local to Walt Disney World where he could wash his van, like where he could get his van washed, because he drives, I believe, from Ohio, if I recall, and his van gets all the bugs, especially in love bug season. Your grill is like disgusting, your windshields are gross. It's a bigger van though, and he says there is a car wash at around the Boardwalk Resort, which I'm guessing is at that Hess or whatever.
I would assume it would be. Yeah.
Speedway, I think it is now.
Yeah, Speedway.
One right outside the Boardwalk. But he says that one is too short for his van. His van's it's taller because it has to accommodate his chair. So
Oh,
I know we don't know. I told him
no.
I don't know. So if anybody local knows of a kind of a car wash that would accommodate a larger vehicle, like a taller vehicle for Kevin, he'd really appreciate it. So just drop that to Mike at beourguestpodcast.com and I'll forward that on to Kevin.
Oh
But he's
my
a super
gosh.
Disney fan. Glad to have him
Yes.
back in the fold. And just promised him we'd get that question out there for him.
That's awesome. You know what? I know our listeners are going to come through. I know it. So, there's lots of locals down there that listen, and I just have a feeling somebody's going to come through with this answer. So.
All righty. So here we go. Let's get to another question from a Jennifer Anderman in the live chat. Hello, looking for dining recommendations for the evening before the half marathon in November. It'll be my first Run Disney race and first half marathon. So I'm looking for the best pre-race fuel. This race will also be a celebration for my 40th birthday.
Nice.
You're a kid. That's 40s are the best time to start running. I'm just saying that's when I did. So God, okay. See, I'm competing against her for ADRs. Do I tell my, see, and I'm thinking, do I tell my place? Cause I have a place that I really like, but
Is
it's
it
kind
Olivia's?
of super. No, it's not Olivia's,
Oh.
but Olivia's works for Dopey. I would make sure. I usually eat Olivia's night before the full marathon.
I know you do. Yeah.
I don't know why? Because it's not like I get pasta. I get chicken.
No, you totally get chicken, and it's fried chicken, isn't it?
It is. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so it's not. Yeah. It's not even
At that point, you're committed.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's gonna be miserable either way. I think the whole pasta thing is just a myth anyway. Like, I mean, I eat Taco Bell and run 13 miles the next morning, like 4 days a week. So it's
not a lie.
exactly. You still want to run near me. So
No.
let's see. So anyway, here's my sleeper hit. I love this place. Scott and I have eaten here a couple times before races. Mama Melrose at the studios.
good
Because you
choice.
can I get lasagna or spaghetti and meatballs. You get bread.
That's a good choice.
Here's the thing. People say you shouldn't get a salad. It's rough on your stomach. I eat salads all the time, so it doesn't bother me. But just key, if it's first half marathon, don't go changing what you normally eat the night before the race.
No.
This is not a good idea. So if you don't eat a lot of salads or breads or stuff, don't do it. Like, even though people say, oh, you got a carb load or whatever, you don't. I mean, you'll make it. So, but I do like I just like Mama Melrose is a nice little Italian restaurant. It's cute. Yeah. It's a cute little place, not too expensive, and the food's good. So that's my sleeper hit. What would you say? You got anything?
Well, you could try Maria and Enzo's then at Disney Springs.
I really wasn't a fan of Maria and Enzo's.
I mean, I think it's okay, but if she's looking for pasta, it's at least an option, and it will probably have availability. So that is why I suggested it. I see Jennifer is suggesting El Molino at the Boardwalk or at the Swan, which is another good choice.
I like Trattoria Al Forno.
Yeah.
She also gave that one at Boardwalk. That is a solid choice. I do like that one.
Yes, that is a great choice too. So, or of course, there's always the Italy Pavilion. You got a number of choices there. So, with Via Napoli and.
I can't. I ate a pizza at Via Napoli after my first marathon, and then I didn't even take a shower. We just went right to Via Napoli. We ate pizza on the plane. I didn't even take a shower.
Nope, you're smelly.
I had to teach the next day. That's what the education system was. I had to be back to teach Monday. I just run 26 miles in Florida. Didn't even have time to take a shower. Got to get home and teach kids. Anyway, next question. Yeah, it says, hey, Mike, my name is MJ. Quick question for the Lister Question Show. I'm understanding that most rides, this is about Genie Plus. I'm understanding that most rides will still have standby queues, and Rise and Ratatouille will have virtual. But will Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Safari Ride in Animal Kingdom have standby queues too, or just the paid option? We like to rope drop, and it'd be nice to have the standby option because the line usually moves quick first thing in the morning. Thanks. Love listening to the podcast. So what's the scoop, Ricky? What have you heard?
Standby queues. Yep. You'll still have a standby.
So there has to be standby queues, right?
Yes.
For everything. Okay. I should say, there has to be either standby or virtual, right?
Virtual queue is the standby queue. Correct. Yes. So, but yeah, everything will have a standby queue. So, there'll just be the two paid options, which we will, of course, I will go into very much detail on the Friday show because I know there's so much confusion. I know I helped out. There was a question in the BOGP Lizards chat, and I had to help out and explain, I was like, I think this article that I wrote for the Mouse Plus will help you. And so I just posted it because it is so difficult to kind of navigate what Disney meant. And I'm pretty good
Riley's a fan of lightning lanes.
There you go. Okay, good.
I translated, but
good. Okay.
She's got high taste. She's not getting lightning lanes because I'm not paying for it. But
got it.
It's like the rest of my girls. They're all kind of bougie.
Smart. Yeah, that's smart. Don't get lightning lane for the dog. Yeah. But there's Disney sometimes can be confusing in how they explain things. So I've become very skilled at understanding the PR speak. So I'll go through everything on Friday for sure.
So have your pen and paper ready, or just we'll point you to article.
To the article on the Mouse for Less. Yeah, exactly.
If you're driving, or if you're running, or if you're on the treadmill, no need to take notes.
No,
we'll walk you through it and try to get you off the ledge.
Exactly. Yes.
Kind of one of our mission statements. Okay, Trisha's got a question. Trisha Hellwig here in the inbox. She says, "Whenever these become relevant, one, when will the Epcot monorail open and stay open?"
Hey, it's open.
Is it back open? She says, "I see reports from late July that it was only open 2 days before closing."
Oh.
So it's back open?
Oh, well, I didn't know it closed again. I think it's been having like maybe issues. I don't think it's like closed. I just think maybe like if it is closed for like a period of time, it's just, I think it's been having a few issues since, the track has been closed for a while. So it's going to take a while for it to warm back up, so, but I think it's still running. Just maybe closed down
because I didn't hear that it was closed. I think it's just seen Twitter rage, but
I think it is too. I think it's just closed occasionally, like there something goes. I don't want to say something goes wrong, but like there's just an issue with something. So
if anybody has any information on that, at Be Our Guest Mike, I'll retweet it and get it out there ASAP. Number 2, any details on the nighttime hours for those staying at deluxe resorts, trying to plan park reservations for Magic Kingdom and Epcot, and staying at the Contemporary? Thanks, Mike, for the booking. Thank you. Not sure if we want to hit those parks on a day with later hours or not, as the beauty of being at the park close to closing usually means low wait times. Not sure if that could be impacted. Thanks, Trisha. So give her, because she's in a deluxe resort, what do we know about night hours for deluxe guests?
We know a lot of information about the extended evening theme park hours. So like was mentioned, they are only available for deluxe or deluxe villa resort hotel guests. They are allowing guests, basically as of right now, the schedule it's only out for about 6 weeks or so, starting on October 4th. And so I have it up on the Mouse for Less in my article about the attractions available for extended evening theme park hours. But right now it appears it's only taking place on Mondays and Wednesdays at the Magic Kingdom and Epcot. Magic Kingdom on Monday, I believe, and Epcot on Wednesdays. Those staying at the resort hotels will receive 2 additional hours of theme park time, and they'll get to ride, most of the attractions at, either the Magic Kingdom or at Epcot. So, like I said, I have the full list on the Mouse for Less. You can check that out. But right now it's only at the Magic Kingdom on Mondays and only at Epcot on Wednesdays.
So what I would say is, if you're staying at a deluxe or deluxe villa resort, I would try to go to these things because the thing is, I used to kind of avoid, I had a rule. I never went to extra magic hours at night at the studios because there wasn't enough to do back in the day, because a lot of the stuff was shows. They didn't do shows at night. The park was small. It just felt crazy crowded.
Right.
I would do Magic Kingdom evening extra magic hours. I would do Epcot. And I really didn't care to do them at Animal Kingdom. But the thing is, now it's going to be such an exclusive group when you wipe out the moderates and the values. Yeah, these things should be really, really attractive to go to.
Look, let's put it this way. If you think the after hours events are good as far as like crowds, these are going to be even better. So
just no Mickey bars and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. So you definitely probably, if you're not in the park that has the extended evening hours, you definitely want to make sure you have a park hopper so that way you can hop to the park that has the evening hours, because I think you're still going to have to be able to do that. So you're not just going to be able to go to Hollywood Studios on the Monday and then roll on over to Magic Kingdom because you have the extended hours in the evening, and you're staying at a deluxe hotel. I think you still have to be at the Magic Kingdom that day or have a park hopper. So
listener John has a really great question. We'll do this for the last question of the day because we're just about out of time. But he says, so do you think it's worth it for the 2 nights of 2 extra hours to stay at a deluxe. And so here's kind of this is all about philosophy, right? This is how you look at it. But if you're a night person and if you're a theme park person, you really like to spend it. Some people really, I love being in the theme parks at night, but not super late. Like I just, I'm not a person who wants to be there till midnight, but I like being in the parks at dark. I love seeing the lights. I love the atmosphere of when it cools off, especially if you're there in the hot time of the year. It just depends. I mean, because with that deluxe resort, you're getting a lot more. You're getting a better pool. You're getting on-site table service dining. You're getting proximity to a theme park. You're going to be able to walk to one or skyline to one or to boat across Seven Seas Lagoon to one or take a monorail. So I think, this is just another enticement to maybe go from that moderate to a deluxe, but you would have to really see. But I would say, we'll see when the reviews start coming back from this and we see social media posts. If you see empty parks, yeah, I mean, this is something that could tip the scales towards that deluxe.
I think so too, especially if you're maybe considering a, Disney after hours event in the future or, whatever, if you factor in the amount of money that you would spend on that versus the amount of money you'd spend, staying at a deluxe, it could be worth it. Plus, like you said, all the other perks you get from staying in a deluxe. So yeah, I could see where, you have to do Disney math, right. Which we all love to do Disney math and figure out, the best path of spending our money. But I think that for some people, the Disney math could work in their favor on this one and entice them to stay at a deluxe resort.
Right. I mean, I would look at it strictly without that. And then, if it's like on the fence, that might push me over but I'm more looking at like the location of the hotel, the theme of the hotel, the swimming pool, the proximity to my theme parks that I may be spending the most time at, like, Epcot Air Resort, if I'm going to be at the studios in Epcot, say Food and Wine, that's going to be there. And then boom, if I get a couple extra, that might push me over. So yeah. It's good. Great question. Yeah. All right, well, hey, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for the great questions. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here on the podcast here, wherever you are in the world. Hopefully you enjoyed spending some time talking about Disney, thinking about the fun stuff, going to the park, planning our trips, all the good stuff. Now, Friday, we're going to jump into all the annual pass talk. We have 4 tiers that we can talk about. Only one for those of us that are outside of Walt Disney World, not DVC members, but we'll dive into all 4 tiers. We'll also talk Genie, Genie Plus, Lightning Lanes, all that stuff. So be ready to go to school. It's back to school time here on the Be Our Guest podcast, because we're going to all try to learn together and have.
We're going to take you to school for sure. Yeah.
What does all this mean? We're going to try to put a little context with all this. So join us on Friday for that. Don't forget, today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Check them out for all of your Disney trip planning needs. It's great to have a partner there in your planning. Walt Disney World has so many new things going on that it's great to have an agent there giving you these emails every so often telling you, hey, this is what you need to start thinking about right now. We need to think about dining reservations. It's almost 60 days out. Think about your theme park reservations. Make sure you have those set. And we'll give you, seasonal emails about, hey, you're down there during Halloween season or the Christmas season or Festival of the Arts. There's a lot of great emails. You get lots of great tips, but more importantly, you have an advocate there taking care of everything you need to make your Walt Disney World vacation awesome, and also getting you the best deal on that vacation possible. So it's a win-win. You support the podcast, and we take great care of you each and every time. So check them out over at themagicforless.com. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. It really does help us out. It's one extra click, but it does mean a lot to the show. So again, click through beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our patrons who allow us to put this show out 4 times a week all around the world. And our patrons get the craziest show every Thursday called Mike in the Midwest. It's a show about growing up in Missouri and about, topical things, retro things, just kind of a fun catch-all. We have a good time with that. So if you want more information on supporting the show on Patreon, just visit patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Follow Ricky on the social media. She's at Ricky Nibs. So give her a follow there. Also, she runs the Be Our Guest podcast account at Be Our Guest Pod on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. Follow me. I'd love to talk to you this week. So follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, subscribe to the show on Facebook and YouTube. Just search for the Be Our Guest podcast. And finally, join Scott and I this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, where we take your calls and talk about all the Disney news of the week. 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. We'll see you on Facebook or YouTube this Sunday night. So until then, we're going to get out of here and be back again on Friday, where we try to take on all these topics. So say a prayer for us. Next 14 hours. It'll be a good one.
Yeah.
So for Pam and Ricky, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Time to get back to work, and we'll see you real soon. Alrighty, let me cut out those two real quick.
Yeah, no worries. I'm gonna go shut my blinds real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, because Riley barked too. What do you think here? And I'll give my thoughts from the travel agent perspective.
It's all because I'm trying to mute Daisy. I think you do. I think you do get
and this is how you possibly get room discounts. I mean, what do you think here? And I'll give my thoughts from the travel agent perspective.
I think you do get.
There's one edit. And
I do miss it very much, actually. So, I'm
because we have background loop Tuesday, all loops all day. But where do you check it out when you want to get some music like that?
I do miss it very much, actually. So, I hate that we don't.
All right, all good. I have not checked that out, Corwin. I have not. I am going to though. I just have a ton of background loops, honestly, on my iTunes library from when I ran Magical Mouse Radio, so I listen to those a lot. Let me save this bad boy real quick. Episode 1957, edited. That's a good point, Jennifer. Even though I hate the Swan and the Dolphin, I'd much rather be at All Star Sports. That's just me, though, because I like Disney. I just like the feel of it all. Like Swan and Dolphin are great hotels, but it didn't feel like Disney to me. I always think that if you plan to have resort days, there's nothing like a deluxe for all the dining options and nearby attractions, resort activities. I agree with that. Yes. We found that out. We stayed at the Grand Floridian before the cruise last week. Is that, man, we just had a good time hanging out at that pool. Oh. Then we ate at the Grand Floridian Cafe. Wasn't super expensive. Good food. The chicken. Oh my gosh, that chicken at the Grand Floridian Cafe, that fried chicken, so good. Not as good as Olivia's, but so good. All right, we're going to get started here in just a second. If you guys have any questions, though, I can answer those off the podcast while we get ready. Everybody come and get it. Na, 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 na. Na, see if we can get some marbles. Na, 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 na. No. Yeah, they're super nice. I always say, like, if it wasn't at Walt Disney World, I'd love staying at those hotels. The Disney Sorcerer Pass. That just cracks me up, these names. The Disney Incredibass. I should do voiceovers for Disney. The Disney Pirate Pass. Arg. You should have to say that when you use your annual pass. The Disney Pixie Dust Pass. Yes. The Incredible Pass. And for $100 extra, you can get your pictures. For $100 extra bucks, you can go swimming.
You can go swimming. Sorry. Okay. So apparently my neighbor decided that now is the right time to go outside with his dog. So that's why she's like losing her mind.
Tell her we're recording a world famous podcast here.
I know, right? Seriously.
You not know the power of the Our Guest podcast. Yes. Do you want to do annual passes first, or do you want to do Genie?
Up to you. Which the annual passes is obviously the newer thing. So
yeah, let's do that first.
Okay.
And then people may fade.
Then people may fade.
They like rage quit the show, which don't quit our show.
Don't rage quit. We need you to stick around. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do this. 59. Riley's asleep in, so good. Hopefully nobody opens the door upstairs.
That's good.
She's so cute. She's sleeping with a little bone in her hand. Oh, put people to sleep and dogs.
And your dog barks, and she's an angel. My dog barks, and she's a pain in the butt.
She's an angel. She was just like talking about things. She, during the day, she does quotes with me. Like we sit side by side. I've taught her to type. She doesn't type very fast because she doesn't have a space bar, but she's pretty good.
I'm sure she doesn't. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
59.
Let's
Here
do
we
it.
Welcome to episode 1959 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you. I promise I won't do this every show, but I'm 24 hours away from being back on the hill out in Columbia, Missouri, Faurot Field, Memorial Stadium, watching my Tigers under Coach Eli Drinkwitz take on the Central Michigan. I don't even know what their mascot is because they're a small school. And that's what we do early in the year. We just beat up small schools. So I hope I didn't curse us. We've lost to small schools before. I shouldn't have said that out loud. Oh my gosh, I have it on tape now. Let's quit talking about college football because now I'll be sweating bullets until the end of the game tomorrow out in Columbia. So anyway, look for me. It's on a SEC network. I'll be waving. So along with all the other people. But I'll be there. But hey, we're here to talk Disney. And we got some stuff to talk about. We have stuff.
I do.
A lot of stuff people want us to chime in on. So we're going to chime in on some stuff today. So join me for this fun conversation. We're taking you to school. We have Ricky from the mouseforless.com where I'm getting all my information today. So Ricky, what's going on? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I forgot to mention on Wednesday, but I wanted to say how sad I am to hear about the loss of Ed Asner. So for those who don't know, Ed Asner was the voice of Carl from Up. And a few years back, I actually got to meet him. There's a picture, I posted it on my social media. So if you want to see me meeting Ed Asner, it's out there on my Instagram, and I think Facebook and Twitter too. So, but yeah, he was just the sweetest guy. And, I thanked him for, the work that he did on as Carl and Up, and he's just the nicest guy. So, rest in peace, Ed Asner. Thank you for the memories. And it's so sad to hear about his passing this week. So
we talked about that on the live show on Sunday because it just happened a few hours before, or was at least announced that day. So we spent some time talking about that. The older I get, and it seems to happen every day, I get a little bit older. It's a weird thing.
It's weird how that happens. Yeah.
The thing is, I appreciate the character of Carl more and more because I can be a curmudgeon some days. I'm like set in my ways. I'm just like,
what?
I appreciate my wife, right? I love my wife. I do anything for her. We do lots of adventures together. But you can be kind of a curmudgeon like on the outside, but you can still have that heart of gold on the inside, right? That's what we all want to be.
Absolutely, 100%. So, I still can't watch that movie because I can't get through the first 3 minutes of it, and so I'm just done. And then you got the last. Then you get the last little bit too. So like you're bawling at both ends of that movie, and I'm just like, I can't do it. It's a good movie. It's a great movie. It's a great story. I just don't like crying that heavily.
Because I went to see that in the theaters when it came out, right? Because there's a lot of hype around it.
Same.
Man, I was messed up at the beginning of the movie. It just totally destroyed me. And the thing is, I have Disney Plus now. I will not watch that movie. I don't watch it either. I don't need that kind of soul-crushing destruction in my. I know it has a happy ending and it's a good movie, but I'm an emotional dude. Like it's college football season. Wade just told me it's a Central Michigan Chippewas. Being a Mizzou fan is soul-crushing enough, which Wade gets because he's a Nebraska fan. The thing is, I don't need to go watching a movie, no matter how good it is for 90% of the movie. That 10% brings me to my knees, and I don't need that. Which is sad because it's a great movie, but I will not watch it.
It is a great movie. Yes, that is one of those movies that I just can't do. There are a lot of other movies that are not Disney movies.
I've never seen. What's the Mexican one? Coco. People told me that thing will break you. I'm
surprised Coco did not break me because I had just lost my grandma not that long before, and I was like, I'm surprised it didn't break me, but it didn't for some reason. But I can't do Up, so I can't.
And I love the Mexican culture. Like it's not just Mexican food. I do love Mexican food, but I love like mariachi music. I love when I go to a really authentic Mexican restaurant, where everybody's speaking Spanish. I took Spanish for 5 years. Like I kind of decipher Spanish pretty well. Almost as good as I can do English. But the thing, and I was excited to see that movie. Then people are like, oh, it's so sad. I'm like, I am not watching that.
So I don't think it's as sad though as Up though. I think you can manage that. I don't know, but that's just me. I was able to manage Coco. So I can't. I still to this day can't manage Up. So, I don't know. Maybe try it.
Maybe at Halloween, because they'll be kind of Day of the Dead thing. Anyway, speaking of sad, we found out about annual passes this week.
We did find out about annual passes this week. Hey, good tie-in.
That's right, 2,000 episodes, and we're figuring things out. No, so everybody's been waiting. Like, when are annual passes going back on sale? So everybody's like, yay, on social media. Yay, annual passes. September 8th is the date that they're going back on sale.
Yes.
Now, we're going to get to all the information, but if you have a current annual pass, like I do, you do, this will go into effect after your annual pass, this cycle expires. You'll have to go to one of these 4 awesomely named levels.
Yes, awesomely named. Yeah.
Unless you're from Missouri, which you don't have any choice. Hey, you got all these choices. There's your choice. Yes. So we'll talk about that in a second. But initial thoughts, because as we're recording this show, this is the day that everything was announced. So we are just hours away from this all this stuff becoming official. So initial thoughts. What are your initial thoughts before we dive into it?
Again, I was talking to a coworker about this, and I am surprised that people are surprised that the prices increased.
I called this like 3 weeks ago on social media. You can look at my Twitter account. So I was like, oh, it won't be, because everything's getting more expensive, a lot more expensive.
Absolutely. So I'm a little surprised that I don't know if people thought that it wasn't going to go up much or what. Which, I mean, granted, there were some steep increases, especially if you do the math on things, which we'll explain in a minute. But I am a little surprised that people were surprised that it increased. I guess maybe the other like part of the surprise is the fact that, if you think about it, so I realized that the last annual pass increase happened basically in February of 2020. So the annual passes didn't really, they went for like a whole year. We didn't have like a year and a half without a price increase. So, I don't know. I'm not surprised that they increased as much as they did. Look, Disney has been increasing annual passes at a pretty good clip for the past few years. So I really wasn't surprised by the increase. I'm also not surprised by the fact that they simplified things in a way. Over the past few years, they've had just so many different annual passes and options, and things get a little confusing. Because I know I would get confused, and I'm apparently a Disney expert, and I look at the listing of the number of annual passes, and I was like, what is that one? And I don't understand. So yeah, I got confused. So I think simplifying it is much better. And look, the elephant in the room is there's only one annual pass option for those of us who live out of state. It has been that way for a while. I know because I have to buy an out of state annual pass, and every year I have to plunk down a lot of money for an annual pass, and I have to plunk it down at one time because I don't get the perk of the Florida resident. They get to pay like monthly installments. I don't get that perk. I got to pay it all at once. So I guess I saw a lot of complaining about the fact that there was only one option for out of state residents, and I'm sitting here thinking there's only been one option for quite a few years. So okay, you had the Platinum Plus pass, which allowed you the water parks, but I still count that as like one option.
That's my thing is again, I've said this a million times on the podcast. I long for the days, and again, grumpy old man. I'm like Carl from Set My Ways, but I love the Ultimate Park Hopper that was part of your vacation package, where that's when I always went to the theme or the water parks because it was included. You did whatever you wanted. You went to Disney Quest. You didn't think about it. It was just part of the package. And then when you had to start adding things on, I never added on a water parks and more because I haven't
been to the water park since that time period. Basically,
I like the water. I'm a water park fan. I think they're a lot of fun. And I was like, we ever going to go to a water park? Because Spencer, she's been alive. She's 13 now. Anyway, so let's talk about the levels.
Yes,
and I love the names because Disney, if anything else, man, they got people naming stuff right now. So
they definitely
talk about that, and let's talk about, because there's 3 levels. If you're a Florida resident or a DVC member, you have a lot more options. If you're non-DVC and you live in Missouri, outside of Florida,
you got one option.
You're going to the Mexican restaurant, and all you can get is tacos.
Yes,
basically. What kind of tacos? You want hard shell or soft shell? Well, guess what? You can't get the soft shells. You just get a hard shell taco.
Yes.
And it's going to be real expensive. Okay, so walk us through the 4 levels and what's included.
Okay, there are, like I said, 4 levels. The first 3 are basically Florida resident only passes. So there's the Disney Pixie Dust Pass. This one's $339 plus tax. You get to visit one or more theme park on the same day. You have to have, now for all these parks, you have to have advanced reservations. Pass is valid most weekdays with blackout dates on peak and holiday periods. You can make and hold up to 3 park reservations at a time on a rolling basis, so just like it is now. Pass holders staying at select Disney Resort hotels can continue to, so they can make their reservations for their hotel stay and then continue to hold those 3 extra park reservations, and that'll continue as well.
All 4 levels.
Yes,
correct?
for all 4 levels. Yeah, so I won't like go over that every time. There's going to be bonus reservations that are added to the calendar from time to time, allowing you to make extra reservations on select days at theme parks. These bonus reservations do not count as a reservation hold. I guess they're just going to throw in a day.
That cracked me up. Like, okay. What? I mean, what is like they're doing this with the Run Disney race in the spring? Like, dude, bonus, like surprise race. Like, dude, you're making this stuff up. I'm sorry. I know that this is a great, this could be a great perk, but it's just this seems so out of Disney's norm.
Right.
I mean, it's okay to have change. I mean, it spices things up, right? But I mean, dude, come on now. Like, is this going to be like, okay, September 3rd?
Exactly.
September 12th, you can go into the Epcot.
Exactly, because the park is dead this day, so we're going to let you in this day. Like, what? Like, yes, exactly.
It's so weird.
It's totally going to be one of those things where it's like the park is kind of like it's been the past week where, like it's been dead. Like, you'll get those bonus days right now because
no, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
The bonus days, by the way, are also something that are included in all 4 options. Right. So I'm not going to go over that again.
Disney loves a good surprise bonus.
Exactly. They certainly do. Again, another thing that goes for all 4 is you can add on Disney Photo Pass or the water park and sports option. So there's an extra cost for both of those. More on that. You get theme park parking and you get discounts on dining, merchandise, and more. So yes.
Okay, so we'll start there, and I will not rant about Memory Maker right now. I'll hold on. I'll just keep your mouth shut, Mike. Okay,
we got this.
Again, this next level, that was for Florida residents. So is this. So is the next one. So Florida residents, we go to the Our Pirate Pass. Again, do you get an eye patch with this one?
I actually
or at least a hook. You should get a hook.
I saw something going around on the internet where there's making for a pass or something like that, and the joke was you did get a pirate, like an eye patch, and you had to wear it the whole time.
I mean, I'm a pirate pass holder. Arr.
Oh my god, it's so stupid. Anyway, okay, Florida residents, $6.99 plus tax. You can again visit the multiple theme parks on the same day.
Park hopping.
Yes, park hopping. The pass is valid for most days. There are blackout dates, including peak dates and holidays. I've noticed a lot of Florida residents stating that because there's really no like correlation level to the previous options that were available. And this one has way more blackout days than like the one that kind of corresponded with it. So just kind of a heads up, you might want to look at the blackout dates.
Check the calendar.
Exactly. You can hold up to 4 park reservations at a rolling basis on this one. So those are really the differences with this. Again, you get theme park parking, you get discounts on dining, merchandise, and more, and then the other things that we talked about. So
okay, so the first one, just so we know, that's the Pixie Dust, the very lowest level was $339 plus tax.
$339 plus tax. Yes.
Florida residents.
Yes.
This one jumps up to $699 plus tax.
Correct.
Or $45 a month. Okay, so let's go up to the Disney Sorcerer Pass.
So dumb. Okay, this is for Florida residents or Disney Vacation Club members. So I believe if you're just a Disney Vacation Club member and you live in another state, you can still choose to purchase this option. It is $8.99 plus tax. You can visit theme parks, park hop, that kind of thing. This is valid for most days, but there are blackout dates for this one during select holiday periods. So not like the summer, but I think like during Christmas and spring break, things like that. So do keep that in mind for Disney Vacation Club members. If you're going during one of those time periods, this may not be the pass for you. You can make and hold up to 5 park reservations at a time on a rolling basis with this one. And then again, theme park parking and discounts on dining and merchandise and things like that. So yeah, there's that. All right.
So on this one, here's what I get about this. Okay, again, this one's $8.99 plus tax, or $63 a month, but that's after your $205 down payment. So now we're getting to the territory that this pass now costs more than my first car, because I had a $500 MGB that was used that didn't run, but we fixed it up. But when you're starting to do down payments and monthly installments, okay, now we're getting down to,
but keep in mind, I think the monthly installments are only for the Florida residents, not for the Disney Vacation Club members.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You're from Missouri. You're Mike Moneybags.
Yeah, exactly. You still got to pay for it. Okay.
Oh, hang on. This is the Disney. Everybody get ready for it, because it's for everybody. The Disney Incredibass. Here we go.
So dumb. Such a dumb name. Okay. This one's for all guests, including little old me and Mike. It is $1,299 plus tax. It'll allow you to visit, all 4 theme parks, park hop. No blackout dates on this one. So if you want to go on Christmas Day, you can go on Christmas Day. And again, you can make and hold up to 5 park reservations at a time on a rolling basis. By the way, can I just mention, I am at least happy to see that they have increased this, because that 3 park reservation, system that they had going on was so difficult for someone like me. So, because I, have multiple trips booked at once and usually stay off site. So I had, especially when the park reservation system was way more blacked out than it is now. That was so difficult. So I'm glad to see that they've increased the reservation availability, at least for this. So, hey, that's a bonus, right? That's a plus. I don't know. I'm paying a lot of money for this pass.
And then again, $12.99, or if you're a Florida resident, you can do $99 a month with your down payment of $205. I love how they got $205. I guess I got it down to round numbers for them.
I think that's maybe the cost of like a 1-day park hopper or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. So,
or half of my MG. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so those are the 4 options. Okay, now you can do add-ons. Do we want to talk about the add-ons now, Mike? Do we want to?
Well, we have to. We're obligated. So go ahead.
We are obligated. Okay. So for an additional cost, you can add on either the water park and sports option. So this would used to be like the water park fun and more. Yeah, exactly. So it is $99 plus tax for the year. Now, overall, not bad. If you're planning on going to the water parks and stuff like that, it's really not that bad of a price. I mean, the water parks, you really have to go like twice to get your money's worth out of this.
Twice in this, but this makes sense. This does make sense if you're going to go twice the whole year. So this is, I mean, if you're going to go, this is not, it's kind of like Disney Cruise Line, right? It's a premium cruise line. It costs a lot to get on the ship, but it doesn't cost that much more to get a veranda from ocean. It's kind of one of those situations.
Agreed. All right. Now, this one I think is funny that we're a little upset about, and I'll explain why after.
I'm fired up about this.
I'll explain why I think this is really funny that we're upset about it. Okay. Disney Photo Pass downloads. Now, if you want to be able, so before, if you wanted to download Disney Photo Pass photos, you could, it was included in your park pass, in your annual pass. So you could go take as many photos as you wanted, and you could download them. I utilize this so much over the past few years that they've had this included in my annual pass. Now, if I decide that I want to have this, it's an extra $99 plus tax for the year. So go ahead, Mike, and then I'll explain why I think it's funny.
For one thing, it's a digital asset, right? It's not, I know that you have the PhotoPass photographers and all that, but I mean, come on, we're paying a lot of money for the annual pass. I thought it was a nice gesture from Disney to offer this to their most revered guests besides DVC. Annual pass holders are forking out a lot of money to be there. It doesn't cost Disney that much. These things are shared, especially with, for me, I could take the pictures or leave them, but I like to go in there, when I'm standing in line to see, oh yeah, what was the ride photo look like, or what goofy pose did we do in front of the Chinese theater? I mean, we mess around with these, you get the magic shots, but I mean, I immediately post them to social media. Thousands of people see these things. It's great free press for them. And here's the thing. Okay, I say I'm not going to buy it. I am, because now if they still include the race pictures, that makes it worth it. Because
that's true. Yes.
My first marathon, this was not a part of the race. Remember, they had a third party company. I paid $260 just for my marathon weekend pictures, just for one race weekend.
Yes.
Because it was my first, dopey or something. And I was like, oh, well, I got to get those pictures. I mean, I'm glad I did. It was just a nice gesture. Agreed. I would still buy it, but now my annual pass is $13.99.
Correct, because you have to add that cost into the annual pass. So it's not as it's definitely gone up a lot more if you add in the photo pass, which, I mean, I agree with you. I have loved having photo pass. It has been a very nice perk. Again, you know, if you didn't want to add it in the lower tiers, you didn't have to add it in the lower tiers. But you know, the people who are DVC, you know,
It
they
should go to like the top 2 tiers.
I
mean, this
agree.
would be kind of a no-brainer. Like once you get to pay like $900 a year
I
or
agree.
$12.99 a year, they should have thrown this in as just like, okay, this is a good faith kind of thing.
Correct.
The water parks, I could see, I say leave that a la carte, and that's a good price, because the thing is, not everybody's a water park person. There's a lot of people that just, they're either skeeved out by water parks and
Yes.
like, you know, public pools. I mean, I get it, like, right? I mean, I've seen movies, but I still go in. There's a lot of chlorine. But the thing is, like, that is a good add-on, and it still was in the previous iteration of the annual passes. It was an add-on, but I mean, it was just, it's hard to take something away that people have kind of gotten used to. And Disney's doing that quite a bit, and they just got to be careful with that.
I agree with that. I do agree. Now, here's the two things I want to point out. One, it is nice in the sense of, okay, yes, I am a little peeved that I have to pay an extra $99 for it, and I, like you, will more than likely consider paying that $99. The good part is that Brian does not have to pay the $99, I believe. No,
you're right. Because you,
so obviously,
make sure he's in all of your pictures. Now, it's like you got to be hugging him. So
exactly. So he would be in all my pictures anyway. Now the question is, like, you know, again,
what about us? We got like 58
that's
family on my Disney
kind of
as long as you get it, you save me $100.
If I'm connected to you, yeah, exactly. Shh, don't say that out loud, Mike. Disney's listening. You know they are.
I'm good because I know you're buying
it. But that's the thing. Like, okay, so we're a family, and so I don't have to buy it for him, but I, you know, would buy it for me. So, okay, that evens out a little bit, you know. Okay, I get that. Because I remember, now this goes back to where I was going to go with this. Remember when this first happened, when we first got PhotoPass as part of an annual pass, I remember the two of us complaining about it because we were like, I don't want PhotoPass. I'd rather pay less money for my annual pass and not have PhotoPass. I remember both of us complaining about this. So they did end up listening in the sense of, like, because we said something about, I'd rather they have us pay extra for it for one person. And that, yeah, so they ended up doing what we asked them to do years ago. It's just, you're right. We got used to it.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so let me ask you this, hypothetically, and everybody that's on the treadmills, everybody that's out on a run, everybody that's taking the garbage out, walking the dog, doing the dishes, cutting the grass, whatever you're doing, maybe just driving in your car. What about this hypothetical? Say Disney said, and they're not, so we're kind of, the facts were there.
Right.
But what if Disney gave you the option to, for $12.99, you still get the memory maker like the old days, or you could opt out of getting the pictures and your pass is $11.99. Now, would you pay the full price of that new? Would you do $12.99 with memory maker, or would you, if they gave you like the opt out, we're going to take $100 off good faith, it's $11.90. See, I would pay $12.99 and be happy and still get my memory maker.
Yes, because when I feel like if you add on, it's a psychologically.
It is a psychological thing because we're getting this a lot all at once. It's happening in a short period of time.
So psychologically, it's like, dang, they're nickel and diming me for everything. Whereas I agree with you. If they had done it like what you said, look, even if they said it was the 13 whatever, and done it that way, it wouldn't have looked as bad perception wise, because like then people can accept a discount. So if they choose not to, you know, not to get the memory maker or the photo pass option, it looks like you're saving money then, instead of, oh, I have to add this on. Yeah, I agree with you. I think they've been doing this a little bit the wrong way. And I think it's certainly biting them in the butt in the Disney community, because, you know, we're going to talk about, you know, Disney Genie Plus and Lightning Lane too. But I feel like the keeping up of the adding on, it's going to burn people out a lot. But if you say, hey, guess what? You can save by not doing this. Psychologically, that's so much better for people. I just feel like I feel like they're doing it wrong with us. Yeah. Yeah.
I know we're going to get on to Genie Plus and Lightning Lane, but just a couple things. Cause I had one of my guests over at the Magic for Less, good friends on Alabama, Rhonda Long. She sent me a message and we were talking about this because she's like, what do I do? Like I have these 2 trips. Like, does it make sense? Again, you got to really, really dive into the math and say how many days are going to be there. We don't know what discounts going to look like for 2022 for annual pass holders. I hope they're like historically there. I mean, as a travel agent, there's nothing that makes me happier than getting a discount for a guest, especially an annual pass holder, because you are a super fan. And I hope to save you the most amount of money I can. Of course, I can only save people money on what Disney offers. I mean, that's the rules of the game. They set the rules. I play by them to my client's advantage. That's what I do. But here's one piece of advice I would say, because she's got 2 adults, 2 kids. Both kids are, over 3 or older. You got to buy 4. Okay.
Right.
Oh, that's a lot
That's
of
the
money.
other part too. There is no child discount for annual passes, which I don't look. I get it in a weird way, but like seriously, like you don't have a child option for an annual pass. Come on.
Well, here's what I haven't told her this yet, but I'm telling her here on the show. So I'll send her a message probably before this comes out. But here's one thing I have learned, which I did by accident because I go down for Run Disney weekends without my family. Now this isn't ideal because it's totally psychological, but if you can get at people like half of the family on a different cycle, you're paying twice a year, but you're not paying in her case $5,500 for a family of 4 for that annual pass renewal, or or some kind of when you're buying that new annual pass. If you're at least paying half of that on one trip and half of that on the other, you're still paying the same amount of money, but it feels like you're not getting hit in the gut so hard. Like, I mean, it's still like Sugar Ray Leonard hitting you in the gut, but it's not like a Tyson, like it might kill you, the other way. It's just one of those things psychologically. I say, try to get on different cycles, and it's not as hard of a hit at once, but it's still,
I agree.
That's psychological. And you really another thing I would say as a travel agent is you got to look and see if it makes sense. I mean, a lot of us are used to just saying, I'm an annual pass holder. I like to go through that annual pass gate at the, when you go into the touch points.
Yeah.
I like my, annual pass magnet, but you know what? You got to look at the year, and this might be a year where you just add Magic Your Way tickets a couple of times and save, $400. I mean, I know it's hard to go from an annual pass holder to a regular.
It is.
Who cares? Once you're in everybody gets to have the same amount of fun.
That's true.
You just got to think about those things. You got to do a lot more math at this point.
Absolutely. You've got to do the math. The math is going to be so key. You got to figure out what is the best option for you. And you know what? The annual pass, it may not be the best option for you now at this point. So the math is going to be so, so important for you to do, which I know a lot of people don't like to do math, but it's going to be very important in this instance. Yeah.
And we're going to talk about this a lot on Sunday night too, so you can call in and give all your thoughts how I'm wrong. Because I mean, I'm just processing this hours later, and I 100% understand that I could be missing things, and I'm not always right when it comes to these things. I do what's best by me, but a lot of times by having more discussion, especially on a call-in show or on the chat or on our forums, all that stuff helps me kind of make better decisions. So I'm not sitting here, we have the microphones because we have the podcast, but that doesn't mean we're right. I'm just trying to get out my thoughts and my overall what I'm thinking about this.
Also, I was going to say, especially right now, because, we discussed this on Wednesday, but don't rely on the fact that you are, Disney's going to offer a discount for a room or something like that. Like before, that was something that we took into consideration because Disney, offered discounts on rooms a lot for annual pass holders and things like that. Well, right now they're not necessarily doing that because, the resorts are full, so they don't have to offer that. So I would add up the cost without any discounts first. And then if the discounts come, then that's kind of gravy. You know what I'm saying? That would be my thought process. I would not expect to get a discount. Go from there. And then if you get a discount, that's better. I think Tanya, though, has the best analogy here. She said the renewal process was going up anyway, as it does each year. So to increase and subtract feels like stubbing your toe. And I agree. Yes, it does. I totally agree.
It's just one of those things, I think 5, 6, 7 years ago, like if you were an out-of-state visitor, it was pretty easy to justify the annual pass. I mean, I didn't even think about it. Like I would just get an annual pass every year, and I lived in Missouri, and people thought that was weird, right? I mean, because I drive around with an AP magnet on my Jeep, and like I don't have a season pass to Six Flags, which is 30 minutes from my house, but I do have an annual pass to Walt Disney World, which is 1,000 miles away. But it made sense. It doesn't make quite as much sense in all instances, but it does. And I mean, we're super fans. Folks listen to the show, so you probably go 3-4 times a year. It still may make sense. It's just going to be more expensive, like everything else in the world right now. So.
Right.
Just let us, but we'll continue the conversation for weeks and months and years.
Oh, yeah.
So, we've been here for 13 years. We'll hopefully be here another 13, and we'll continue to talk about this. So please do let us know on social media. Be Our Guest Mike, Ricky Nibs. We'll have the conversations there. But real quick, we have about 12 minutes left in this show.
Oh gosh.
I know we can't really get into all the complications, but walk us through Genie, Genie Plus, and Lightning Lane for those that haven't caught that, and maybe just give us a few nuggets on that.
Okay, so first of all, let me kind of direct you. There is a Mouse for Less blog that I wrote. It is under the blog section, not the news section, but the news section goes over the basics of Disney Genie. The article I wrote is a somewhat uncomplicated breakdown of Disney Genie. So I tried to make it as easy as possible for people to understand, because I feel like when Disney announced Disney Genie, they did it in like the most complicated way possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really made it as difficult to understand. I don't know if they tried to make it as difficult to understand or if that was just the way that it came out. But, because when you're working on a project, you think, oh, this has got to be really simple for everybody. And then it actually comes out and you're like, what did they say? So
before we jump into this, and I promise I'm not going to derail this because I know there's a lot to talk about, and we'll get into this next Friday because Pam will be back next week and we'll have all three of us here. She's the pro at all this. But here's the thing. I mean, just think about this. If you're a first-time visitor to Walt Disney, I mean, we talked about this on Sunday night. Like, when I first got into Disney, I didn't even know what a queue was, because in Missouri, we call them lines. Yes. Like, it's like you get in line. You don't get in a queue. What is a queue? I mean, is it a letter in the alphabet? What? Now you got virtual queues. Woo, that sounds good. Then you got boarding groups, and just the lingo. If you're jumping into this, you got Genie, Genie Plus, Lightning Lanes, virtual queues, standby queues. I mean,
yes.
God help you if you're new to all this. It's really hard.
But I will admit, I think that the old way was also just as difficult, if not more so. So but we were so used to it. You know what I'm saying? So
maybe
I think that this will, my hope is that this will maybe uncomplicate. Because look, you all know my thoughts on
it'll be less pre-planning because of getting the Max Pass Genie Plus stuff.
Exactly.
Like, it's more like it's more immediate than back in the day where you started planning your trip 6 months out, then 2 months out was fast passes. I agree. It's going to be less stressful. It's more immediate. So
it is. You all know my thoughts on Fast Pass Plus and how I didn't want it to come back, but I knew that in some way, shape, or form, it would be coming back. I feel like this is a better option, all things considered. And I know that a lot of people are going to disagree with me. But really, honestly, I think in the long run, this is actually going to benefit everybody, including Disney, because that's, who's really this is supposed to be benefiting. I think it's going to benefit everybody in a weird way. So here's what it is. It's a complimentary Disney. There's like three different pieces, essentially. Mm-hmm. There's Disney Genie. Let's start with that. Disney Genie is going to be a complimentary and convenient new digital service that's designed to help create the best Disney day. It's something that those of us in the Disney community know very well. Another website I may or may not be very familiar with. Yeah, touring plans. They are essentially ripping off touring plans. If you want to, take it or leave it. That's
like an optimized touring plan for you to get you through the tracks. So it's going to be an optimized touring plan for Disney's advantage, I would understand, because they want crowds to go certain places, which, I mean, hopefully that'll be good for all of us. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative on Disney. I mean, but we'll see. I mean, I don't stick to a touring plan ever, so we'll see how it goes.
Right. So I know, right? So Disney Genie is going to create personalized itineraries from attractions to entertainment to general interests. So you can pick different attractions that you want to go on, and it will tell you the best times to ride.
I like that. If you're a coaster fan, do this. If you're just a little,
which may or may not be what touring plans had been doing, but that's fine.
Oh, I mean, yeah,
exactly.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yes. So, but also for those who are, maybe noobs or whatever, or, this is their first time, there's the option to choose your general interests. So say you have a family that has, the daughter likes Star Wars, the son likes Pixar, and you want to experience those attractions that have like those things. Disney Genie will help your family go that route. So that's kind of another thing. So Disney Genie itself is a planning tool. Now, inside the planning tool, there are two paid options that are available for guests. So they're both, and I think this is where the confusion comes from. They're both going to allow guests to utilize what's known as a lightning lane. So I believe the Lightning Lane is going to be for both options. I know that people are calling the individual option the Lightning Lane, but I don't think that's what that is. Could be wrong on that, but
the Lightning Lane, from what I understand, and I've done a webinar with Disney on this, the Lightning Lane is the one, like the highest level of the Rise of the Resistance or something like that, and it's the one that's going to cost the most per like the one ride. So it might be like $17 you get on. I don't know what they don't know what it's going to be, but it's variable. But here's the thing: this is me, Lightning, like Lightning McQueen. Instead of Ka-chow, I call this one Ka-ching. So go ahead.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. The guests that are going to utilize like the Lightning. See, that's where I think the confusion is coming from. So Disney made it sound like the Lightning Lane was the former Fast Pass lane for both of these. I guess that's probably wrong, and I need to probably update my article. But so if the Lightning Lane is that individual attraction access, then that will be the former Fast Pass lane, and then the Genie Plus will utilize the other Fast Pass lane, because the attractions that are available for both of those options are not the same attractions. So let me back up a little bit. So Genie Plus is the first paid option. It will cost $15 per ticket per day at Walt Disney World. Guests can choose the next available time to ride a variety of attractions or experiences using that former Fast Pass lane. Now, there are going to be some attractions that are not a part of Disney Genie Plus. And then for those attractions, you'll have the ability to purchase the individual attraction access. That'll be the Lightning Lane options. So now with Disney Genie Plus, guests can schedule a time, and it basically works a lot like Max Pass at Disneyland. So I know that a lot of us don't have a lot of...
Every person that I've talked to that has used Max Pass and paid for it out at Disneyland, they come back raving about it. Correct. I mean, I'm just saying, just to be fair, I have not talked to one person that did not like Max Pass when they used it. Exactly.
And I'm going out to Disneyland in November, and I had planned on using Max Pass. I guess I will not be using Max Pass, and maybe hopefully I'll be using Disney Genie Plus. So it's going to work similarly to Fast Pass, and it's how Fast Pass used to work, where you would have to go on the app and pick a time, and it would be like pretty much right away, or maybe an hour or two like later. It's all going to be on the app. You go on the app, you select the next available ride time for the attraction that you're looking to ride. That ride time availability, like I said, could be now or hours from now. And then you're also going to get perks like augmented reality filters, blah blah blah. Nobody really cares about that. Snapchat. Yeah, exactly. Snapchat, yeah, filters. I don't need that. That is not really helpful to me. Like I said, it's $15 per person at Walt Disney World. So then the next thing we have is the individual attraction access. Now for this, like you said, that's the Lightning Lane, which these rides are not going to be offered as part of Disney Genie Plus. So there's only going to be like 1 or 2 Lightning Lane attractions in each park so that guests can pay for. Guests cannot, like, if there's more than 2, guests only have the option to choose 2 of those. So if, say, a park has like 3 options for Lightning Lane, you can only choose 2 of them. So
which actually cracks me up. I don't know why that is. It seems like Disney would money level thing.
I guess they want it to be an even playing field in the sense of like they don't want people just paying for that access
but man, you're paying a lot of money
and clogging up the lines. Yeah, I think it's to kind of keep the lines from being clogged up totally. So
you think I just don't think there'll be that many people doing Lightning Lane. I think it'll be really sparse. I don't think it'll affect wait times at all.
We'll find out, I guess. And that's my hope. That is my hope, actually. So with the Lightning Lane, you can either choose to wait in the standby queue. Same thing with the Disney Genie Plus. You can choose to wait in the standby queue or purchase Disney Genie Plus or the Lightning Lane. And then you can choose up to 2 attractions each day. Pricing has not been set and will be flexible for the Lightning Lanes. So I know everybody keeps mentioning $15 per ride. That's not the case for the Lightning Lane. Disney has said that it is going to be a flexible rate. So
look at Disneyland Paris. It's been variable. It's kind of the same.
Exactly.
So not exactly, but it's kind of similar, I would guess.
Exactly. And you can use this in conjunction with Disney Genie and Disney Genie Plus. So if you want to just buy Disney Genie Plus and not buy Lightning Lane, you can do that. I believe if you want to just buy Lightning Lane access, you can do that and not have to buy Disney Genie Plus. So that's kind of a nice perk too. Let's see what else. Just trying to go over like everything. I guess that's pretty much the basics of everything. Like I said, if you want to kind of understand a little bit more, go ahead and read my article on the Mouse for Less. I will edit it real quick. But I think that that'll help out explain things a little bit more. But honestly, I said this before, I really think this is going to be a positive for everyone. I know people don't think that, but my problem with FastPass Plus was that so many people utilized it that it just stacked up the FastPass Plus line, caused backups for FastPass Plus. So you would end up waiting longer for FastPass Plus, and it caused backups for the standby line. With this, I think, like you said, not as many people may buy either the Lightning Lane or the Genie Plus. So the those lanes will go a lot faster. So your access to those attractions will actually be quicker than it would have been with FastPass Plus. And it will allow the standby lines to move, which has been my pet peeve with the FastPass Plus, the way that worked before. Because with FastPass Plus, I mean, if there were a lot of people in that line, Disney would have a ratio of 10 FastPass Plus people to one person in the standby line. I know that for a fact. So it would clog up that standby line, make things way longer than it should be. I mean, you look at the wait times for something like, Flight of Passage, and those were astronomical for the standby line. I think those are going to go way down with this. And you won't have to wait
here's the thing, though.
3 hours.
People that are paying extra, though, you should not have to wait long at all. So
correct. And I don't
that those people through pretty quick.
They're going to get those people through pretty quick, but I don't think as many people are going to buy it. And so it's going to get both lines through quicker. And I know people don't see it yet, but I think that's what's going to happen. I think the what used to be the FastPass line is going to move much faster. And I think the standby line is going to move much faster. I think you got to have faith with this one. And I'm kind of positive about this. And I didn't think that I would say that, but I'm not like as down on this as I think that most people are, because I really think it's going to help everybody in the long run, including, of course, Disney, because they're going to get extra revenue from it. So.
Right. And I'm taking a wait and see on this one, because I think this could be a positive too. Again, though, it's that whole thing we talked about on Wednesday. It's like FastPass was free. It was included in your admission to the park, and now you're paying extra for it. Now it's a better version of it. Yes. It should be. I mean, we're guessing that it will be, but is it $15 a day a person better? Well, again, I'm holding judgment on that. Disney has told us in that webinar, though, that you will be able to add the Genie Plus to your vacation package like you would a dining plan. So you could do like length of stay.
Right.
That's a question I've been getting. So from what Disney has told us, not yet, we can't do it yet. Well, at least as we're recording, it could happen before then.
Right.
Is that you will be able to add this just like you would a dining plan or a memory maker, that it's just an option. Then you just have it for every person in your room, every day of your trip.
Yes.
Use it for your heart's content. So that is an option to really be in good shape.
Or the other bonus is you don't have to buy it every single day. You can choose to pick and choose which day so say you have a 7-day trip and you only want to use Disney Genie Plus or the Lightning Lanes on 3 of those days. You can do that, and I don't believe you have to purchase it for every single member of your family. So say you've got someone whose height requirement doesn't quite fit all those Genie Plus options. You don't have to buy Genie Plus for that individual, or I guess it would be more for the Lightning Lane. That would, because those attractions generally have higher height requirements. So, you wouldn't have to buy that option for every single member of your family. You could buy it for just the ones who fit that height requirement. So that's a nice perk as well, I guess, if you want to look at it. That it's not like a dining plan where you have to buy it for every single person in your party for the entire length of stay. You can if you'd like, but you don't have to, which I think is nice too. So.
I will say two kind of final thoughts, because we're going to continue to talk about this. I know Pastor's Pam will be back next week. We'll have more conversations on this, not all this, because my joy.
Who knows what Disney's going to announce next week?
Well, to be honest, my joy in the podcast is talking about rides and shows and races and all that. So we're never going to get away from that. But I mean, this is just where we're at right now this week.
We have to help explain these things
because people are.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I hope Lightning Lane passes are ultra expensive. I mean, this is me being selfish. I hope there's $75 a person to go on Rise of Resistance, because if you say you make that Lightning Lane pass $10,
well, yeah,
so many people would buy it, then it'd be crazy. Like that's the thing. Disney has to kind of walk that tightrope, right?
Yes.
They have to make it to where it hurts so you don't get everybody being enticed. Marlessa brought up a great point on the Sunday night call-in show in the chat. She talked, because we're talking about, I'm never using the Lightning Lane. I'll just use Genie Plus and standby stuff and all that, which I probably will. But here's the thing. She said, well, say take Splash Mountain, and it's say it's $17. I'm like, there's no way I'm paying $17 to ride Splash Mountain. I've ridden that thing 50 times. But she brought up a good point. Say the lines were super long during an entire week-long trip. She's heading home. She knows the attraction's going to be changed by the next time she gets back. It's going to be Tiana's, or kind of the last, chance to go on Splash Mountain as it is right now. I mean, is it worth $17 to have that one last hit of your favorite attraction? And you can get on it in 5 minutes?
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, it's a good point. So it is. I mean, again, it brings up a lot more questions and a lot more scenarios you got to run in your head.
Absolutely. 100%. And like I said, as of right now, there are only select attractions that are going to be in that Lightning Lane option. So, it'll only be like those top tier attractions, as far as I know, so it would be like a Rise of the Resistance, or I know they've mentioned Remy's Ratatouille Adventure is going to be one of those. So it's only going to be like the top tier attractions. So, and like I said, it's going to be variable. So I think it will hurt. If you want to ride Rise, I think it's going to hurt. You know what I'm saying? I think they're going to make it so that you got to pay to play in that regard. Because they don't want everybody to purchase it and clog up the line.
It loses exclusivity if you have too many people doing it. I mean, this has to be, because I'm not going to do it that often. I mean, I probably will never do it, to be honest, but
if it's, I mean, look at the number of people who have complained about the fact that I can't get that Rise of the Resistance boarding pass. This is going to guarantee me that Rise of the Resistance boarding pass. So it might be worth the money for somebody, I can see that happening.
I mean, because like, say your kid came down, biggest Star Wars fan in the world, you can't get them on it. Well, you know what? A dad's going to pay $50 to not have their kid disappointed. I mean, just not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it gives you an option.
It gives you the option. So. Yeah,
that's good. We'll continue this conversation. I know we're right along, but we'll talk about this more. So again, give us some feedback on the social media at BeOurGuestMike, at Ricky Nibs. We'll continue the conversation. And of course we will, keep you up to date with everything that's going on. And it isn't kind of an exciting time to be a Disney fan, because there's a lot that's going to unfold over the next, say, 60, 90 days, to see how this all gets implemented, where the pricing falls, who uses it, who doesn't, feedback. A lot of stuff going to happen. So we'll have great conversations here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And of course, Sunday nights, the show's all yours. So again, don't forget, Sunday night, 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central. You want to talk about this? Give us a call. We'll talk about it. This Sunday night, we're on Facebook and YouTube. So we'll see you there. Don't forget, today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Check them out today for all your Disney trip planning needs. Again, like I said on Wednesday, now's a great time to have an expert in your corner, not only getting you the best price on that Disney package, but also if you have questions, we're there all the time. Just drop that question to your agent. We'll answer it to you. We'll get you some resources. You get these awesome emails weekly, giving you tips and advice to make sure that you're in the right place to have a great trip when the time comes. And again, it really does support the show. It's the best way to support the show. So with that next trip to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, even Adventures by Disney, just drop by themagicforless.com, fill out that quote form, mention the show, and I promise you, we'll take great care of you. Again, over at themagicforless.com. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. One extra click means a lot to us. BeOurGuestPodcast.com/Amazon. And finally, thank you to our patrons. You guys allow us to put the show out 3 to 4 times every week. It goes out all over the world, and it's because of your support. And our patrons get a 5th show called Mike in the Midwest every Thursday. So if you'd like to support the show on Patreon, just visit patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. Follow Ricky again at Ricky Nibs. I'm at BeOurGuestMike on Twitter and Instagram. And subscribe to the show on Facebook and YouTube. And we'll see you Sunday night. Should be a lively call-in show, which
sure will be.
I love those things. I love getting to talk to our listeners. It really is the highlight of what we do. We get to just have these conversations back and forth. Because again, we have an awesome community. We're not always happy about things Disney does. We can be, questioning things. But the thing is, our community for the last 13 and a half years, we can handle things like adults. We can have conversations. We don't, we talk things through. We help each other out, and we see, okay, well, this is the system. How can we all get the most out of it? Get the most value? How can we gain the most advantage to make our trips awesome? And it's because of the community getting together and coming up with ideas. I love that about our show. We have a great community. We always have.
We do.
Okay. All right. So I can't wait for Sunday night. Okay. So it's time to get out of here, but we'll be back again on Sunday night. So for Ricky and Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Friday. Have some fun. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And MIZ. There you go.
You're such a dork.
Oh yeah. Okay, and Corbin has a great quote. $50, $5. It just depends on where you are in your life. Like $5 could, it's $5 a lot to me. $50, like
100%.
on the sidewalk. And
Yeah.
so,
yeah. I mean, I get that. Like, totally true. It's absolutely right. $5 will hurt some people for sure. It'll be interesting to see where they price it. I think the Disneyland Paris model will be a good gauge of, where they go with things. But like I said, Disney has said it will be variable. So one day it may be $50. The next day it may be $25. The next day it may be, it wouldn't be less than probably 15. But
we'll see. It's a good time to have a podcast. We got a lot to talk about.
Well, we've said that a few times.
Busy. All right, I got to roll, so I'm gonna get these edited.
All right, I'll see you guys.